Hey guys, Argent here, with a character profile of Pein from Naruto, aka Nagato Uzumaki. So, Pein is probably, in my view, the best villain in Naruto. I think he really kind of sums up kind of what the series was trying to say, and kind of the nature of villains in Naruto, better than Uchiha Madara did or Sasuke did. Probably because Uchiha Madara just kind of comes off, to me at least, as a man-child who's throwing a century-long hissy fit because he wasn't special enough. He was a special snowflake, but because he was a douche and no one really liked him, he wasn't allowed to be the first Hokage. So he threw a massive hissy fit and went off to get revenge on the world. Which is, I guess, kind of funny, but it doesn't really make for a compelling villain. I kind of find the more compelling villains in Naruto the ones like Zabuza, who we'll do a profile on, who actually have some redeemable aspects to their character, and are to a certain extent people with somewhat good intentions who have extremely bad methods to achieve their intentions. Nagato is interesting because he's quiet, he's polite, he's kind of kind in his own way, but he's also extremely ruthless and willing to destroy large parts of the world to implement his dream. Nagato is very much, to understand him, we kind of have to understand his past. So basically, Uchiha Madara implanted the Rinnegan within him. I don't like Uchiha Madara. I actually don't think he should have been part of the plot. I think that Pain should have just been the ultimate kind of final boss. That he maybe should have stuck around for longer, and that he should have just naturally had the Rinnegan because he's an Uzumaki and descendant of the stage of the Six Paths. He is able to use the Rinnegan with no penalties, though, because he is an Uzumaki. It's a bit like if there was an Uchiha born without a Sharingan, it could be transferred into them, and they could use it with no penalty because their body is naturally capable of using it. So he's able to use it. So his parents were killed by Konoha Shinobi when he was young, and he awakened the Rinnegan and killed them. Then he met up with Yuriko and Koen, if I'm pronouncing their names properly, and they searched for food together. They came across the Senin. By the way, they're from Rain Country, which is not very well explained in the show or the manga, at least as far as I could tell. Which is kind of a minor village, but one of the probably the strongest of the minor villages, other than Orochimaru's village, of course. Hidden Sound, largely because it's so heavily industrialized. So Orochimaru offers to kill the three children, but Jiraiya feels bad because Konoha had just defeated the village of Rain in a war, and he feels it's his responsibility. So he teaches the kids how to survive. However, they get attacked, and Nagato activates the Rinnegan again to defend himself and kills the attackers. Jiraiya then comes to the conclusion that Nagato is the chosen one. Um, he sees that Nagato has the eyes of the Sage of the Sixth Path. He sees that he's an Uzumaki. He sees his natural kindness and determination, his incredible stamina, and his willingness to achieve a gentler world by any means possible. Sound kind of familiar? And because of all these things, he decides that Nagato is the chosen one. And he begins to train him, and he trains him and his fellows, and they learn extremely quickly and become powerful. When they're capable of beating one of his shadow clones, he leaves them. He does, however, tell Nagato this, which would lead to his later persona. When people get hurt, they learn to hate. When people hurt others, they become hated and racked with guilt. But knowing that pain allows you to be kind, pain allows people to grow, and how you grow is up to you. Basically, I think what Jiraiya is saying is experiencing pain in your life and hurt is part of growing up. It teaches you compassion for others because it allows you to empathize with their pain, and it makes you a better person. Nagato, however, kind of misunderstood it, perhaps because of his life, because whenever pain happens to him, he grew stronger. When his parents died, he unlocked the Rinnegan. When Yuriko got killed by Hanzo, he unlocked the full power of the Rinnegan and unlocked the six paths of pain. And just the worse things got for him, the stronger he became. And so to him, pain kind of became an ideology. Um, he believed that the evil of humanity would only be resolved if it was exposed to enough suffering. So he never kind of lost because Atatsuki used to be an organization founded to A, overthrow the tyrannical rule of Hanzo, and B, to work towards peace in the world. So as continuing horrible things happened to him and all the people except for Kon in his life disappeared, and Nagato has fucking chakra rods sticking out of his back that puts him in a constant state of pain and ravages his body, he's gradually kind of gone crazy with it. And he, at the same time, though, he's become increasingly powerful, perhaps the most powerful person in Naruto, or one of the most powerful. Um, and he has decided, well, to make the world strong, to make the world grow up, to teach the world compassion, I have to show pain to it. So as the leader of Atatsuki, his goal is to get all of the tailed beasts together to build Jitsu super weapons. And his goal is to use them to wreak havoc upon the world. Now, there's a couple different versions of the plan. One version is just going to indiscriminately kill people until the world grows up. Another is he's going to use it to destroy a country and use it as kind of like a nuclear weapon and mutually assured destruction. And then if another war starts, he will destroy the countries involved with that. And thus the world will be at peace, albeit under such a brutal regime. It's a bit kind of like Schneisel's Sword of Damocles space station with the atomics on it in Code Geass. So as a a fan of the show, I think Pain of all anime characters is one of the ones who I relate most to. He's basically an exceedingly moral, idealistic boy who has kind of, to a certain extent, become very jaded and cynical. There's an old expression, cynic is a jaded idealist. I think that applies very much to Pain. He was kind of an innocent young kid who just wanted to do his best, who just wanted to make the world a better place. But the harshness of reality and his own suffering has driven him to believe that humanity is fundamentally evil and that it must be punished. I know as a child that was kind of my belief. It used to be whenever I would take alignment tests for D&D, I would either get lawful good or chaotic evil. Because they both stemmed from a core sense of justice and a belief that humanity had to be held account and punished for its wickedness. I used to kind of have a special devotion to God's wrath and dream of a day when fire would rain from the heavens and consume the earth. I remember when I was very young, I used to idealize the Nazis because of the sheer number of people they killed. Um, and that's kind of where Pain comes from. His kind of gentle idealism, his natural compassion, has been twisted into an extreme um, misanthropy. His misanthropy is so powerful because he loves so much. And that's kind of the irony of what Jiraiya said. To a certain extent, Pain did make him grow up. Pain did make him more compassionate. But the twisted form of the compassion meant that he kind of saw all the horrors of humanity with none of its beauty. He empathized too much with the world and too much with the many people who are killed um, meaningless without any real meaning. So because of that, this is kind of where his God complex comes from. Because he saw a world with no justice in it, and because he had, in his ideology, as we've said, he believes suffering makes you stronger, he decided that he would become God. Because he had suffered more than anyone else in the world, and therefore he was the strongest, and therefore he was capable of becoming God. And he would become the God who he felt never watched out for him, and bring justice to the world, and bring peace to the world through the tailed beasts. Because in his view, God is someone who punishes the guilty for their sins, and God is someone who brings about peace. And he intended to do both of them. And to that end, he was willing to make alliances with truly horrific people. Most of Atatsuki are psychopathic mass murderers who are also kind of monsters. Koen is the only one who isn't, and she stood by him to the end. Ultimately, though, he meets Naruto, who is in essence kind of the mirror image of him. Mirror images are very important in Naruto. Gaara is kind of what Naruto would be at the present if he had not had his friends. Jiraiya kind of represents, I think, what Naruto could have been had he not won Hinata's love. And Pein represents what Naruto would be as an adult kind of version of Gaara. I don't think Naruto necessarily would have been exactly like Gaara because he's more naturally extroverted and more naturally needing of affection, whereas Gaara is just naturally kind of reserved. But I think Nagato is very much it stands to reason that because his name is very similar to Naruto, which is probably why Jiraiya named his character Naruto in his book. Um, he is very much kind of the opposite. He is the kind of person that that Naruto could have very well been. So because of that, um, uh, Nagato, when he kind of faces his better form, his better self, he finally sees the Messiah. And he kind of realizes at the end of his life how deluded he's been. Ironically, kind of his pain of loss is what finally makes him sane. And he fulfills Naruto's wish by bringing everyone back and entrusting Naruto with his dream for a more peaceful world. The passing of the will of fire on to the next generation is a recurrent theme. Um, in Naruto, and Pain is a good example of this. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Argent signing off.